so much for coming. I want to invite on stage the leader of Leeds City Council, my friend James Lewis, and Angela Barnacle, head of region at Leeds. It is such an amazing moment for us because when I became the mayor in 2021, we had such ambitions for our region, and this is what devolution shows can get done. This Mayoral Development Zone is an absolute game changer, not just for us here in West Yorkshire, but for the whole country. And I was privileged to be with Caddock yesterday, in a hard hat and high vis at the Southern Village. That's going to be 2,000 homes around a village green. Beautiful place to live right in the heart of Leeds. And this is just the first start of that Mayoral Development Zone. So I'm going to hand over, as you can hear, I'm losing my voice. So I'm going to hand over to James Lewis and to Angela to give you more details. James.
Thank you, and welcome everybody to Leeds. As you can see, we haven't rehearsed this yet, so but it's great to see everybody here. Great to see UKREiiF becoming a bigger and more successful event. And there's a little bit in the story of UKREiiF about our ambition for what we want to do for this area around the southern side of Leeds city centre. In that the Armouries behind us arrived in the 1990s, and we've been slowly seeing development around this area. Seeing the city centre change, seeing more people come to live here, seeing some brilliant institutions and businesses move here. But what the Mayoral Development Zone will do is it will give that opportunity over the next decade or so to actually really accelerate what we want to do. As leader of Leeds City Council, I have no problem understanding why everybody wants to live in Leeds, and we are the fastest growing city in the country by some measures, and that's really important. But actually, it's what are our next step. It's about bringing in the work, and that'll talk about the Armouries later. We're working with the British Library on their Northern Reading Room. We're working with the Football Club and Lowy Family Group on developing the land around Ellen Road to get that really strong set of institutions. It's about continued development for homes and getting that infrastructure in. That means it's a really nice place to live and get around and do things like that. But most important is about putting that community in there and getting everybody working together, so we've got the homes, the public services, the jobs, the infrastructure, and having the Mayoral Development Zone, chaired by Tracy straight away, to get that focus on what we need to do. And it's about really accelerating that and having a strong development zone in our city centre.
Angela.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Leader. You're very welcome to stay here, and I've got 10 minutes to power through getting you back onto stage, or you can take a rest and...
We'll step off, Angela.
Thank you. So, as life isn't a dress rehearsal, here we go. So, come in closer. There's room and there's people who want to get in, and we need them. Come in. So this time last year we had a really exciting session where we talked about the terrace to the town, and we talked about everything we were doing in the city to push ourselves forward, and we were on the back of winning the championship. We'd had this amazing parade in the city and we were buoyant. Unfortunately, there's no silverware this year, but we were ever so close. So I have got the job of telling you the things that we've done in the last year, why we're moving into a Mayoral Development Zone, and two really great colleagues are going to join us in terms of Nat Edwards, here, look over here, and Lee Savage to tell you about their plans too. Before I then welcome back to the stage the Mayor and the Leader and Pat Ritchie, the Chair of Homes England, who are going to talk about what we're going to do differently. Because whilst we're ambitious and we've worked really hard, we still want to go even further. So if I take us back to 2022, when we just started UKREiiF, we had this amazing opportunity to welcome the great and the good of the industry to feel the city with their own feet every year. And 5 years on, we've been so busy. We've delivered 17,000 homes in that point, at the same time as consenting 39,000 homes. We've delivered 500,000 square feet of retail. We've got onto site in terms of the innovation arc and the innovation village through the combined authorities' significant investment working with the Scarborough Group in the old medical school. We are very, very nearly there with the train station too, and that's a real kind of pivot point of how we are working in partnership. So whilst it's Network Rail's asset and it's Wyker's funding, it's a Leeds City Council's signature on that contract, and we will be off site with that first phase in a matter of weeks, and that is really coming together. And last year we also talked about what we were doing in our communities, and we had the wonderful Alyssa Newman who came and talked to us from Holbeck together, and she talked about what that significant investment through the Levelling Up funding was doing for the community of Holbeck, which is based right here, cheap by Joel to UKREiiF. And Alyssa talked about two things. She talked about the retrofit we were doing to homes, so not bringing new people in, but actually working with the existing community to give them better facilities to stay in that community as we grow it. And I know the Mayor remembers all too well when she went out to see a family in Holbeck who were living in a back-to-back terrace, who said, our inside wall temperature is 12 degrees, which means my children do everything around this kitchen table. And by retrofitting those homes and doing double insulation that we're doing through Levelling Up funding, it means that their children have got their education back. Because what she told us, that mother, was that her daughter can now do her homework in her bedroom. And these are sometimes just the simplest interventions that make the biggest impact to our communities right here, whilst we work so hard to bring in new communities around them too. And we're also going to be delivering this year, we'll be starting in the next 8 weeks on the Matthew Murray Sports Hub. We've worked with the Football Foundation about delivering even better sports facilities into the city, and this will be the third of Leeds City Council's investments, working with the Football Foundation in bringing grassroots playing facilities to the communities that need it most. And we will be starting on site on the Matthew Murray site again, just not even a mile away from here by the end of this summer. And then if I cast my mind back to last year, what else have we done? Well, in September, Leeds launched its ambitions, Leeds Ambitions, where we said not just the City Council, but the whole system of the city wanted to work in one direction. And doing that, we were going to make sure we were healthy, we were thriving, we were growing and resilient. And then in October of last year, we launched our economic vision. It talked really simply about 7 steps to growth. It talked about putting our arms around the economy we have and loving that, and really backing some of our strongest sectors of digital, of health and financial professional services. And if you want to hear about the Northern Square Mile, come back here tomorrow at 1:30. We've got a panel that's probably longer than the platform, and we'll be hearing from the Bank of England, the FCA, Lloyds, PEXA, amongst other colleagues, who are telling you what we are doing together about driving forward, not just the concept of a Northern Square Mile, because we think we're already it, but actually how do we use that to really power growth, but make sure everybody comes along that pathway to it. So the other things that I would just tell you as well is last year we talked about the Leeds City Fund. They've scripted me. I'm never scripted, and there's so much to tell you that they've said you needed a list. So which is a good job, because the Leeds City Fund, last year we talked about a fund that we would locally own and locally deployed, which allowed us to invest further into schemes that would push our business rates investment even further still. And this is a 100% business retention scheme. It's on a boundary which largely mirrors, for everybody in the room, it probably does mirror the South Bank, but to the geographic geeks amongst us, including myself, it slightly doesn't follow the South Bank. But what it does is it allows us to create that commitment and that fund. And I am really pleased that that full business case approval was secured by Treasury earlier this year, and that instrument will happen over the summer, which will allow us to bring it into implementation. And the very first pilot project of that is back in the Royal Armouries, so that today's like today can happen every other day in Leeds. And not just for Leeds, but for West Yorkshire and for the North in general. So on that note, I am going to welcome Nat Edwards, who has the best title of anybody in the room, because he's the Director General and the Master of Armouries at the Royal Armouries Museum, which is the... Welcome, Nat. Should we give him a round of applause?
Thank you very much. Which is the world's oldest museum, or the oldest collection. I mean, you can argue about the definition of a museum. We've been around since before they had museums, really. And the exciting thing about the Armouries is it's always been something which links to a wider purpose. Originally probably just propping up the monarchy, but over time becoming something much more important. And I just wanted to talk very quickly about what we're doing, because I haven't got a script, and I saw yesterday what happens when people don't have scripts. Things can go in any direction, can't they? But I was thinking yesterday, actually yesterday was remarkable. If you weren't here, we had this wonderful investment summit for the North. We had Olympians, we had mayors, we had aspiring leaders of political parties, we had Anita Rani. we had so much going on, and it was a really exciting discussion about everything from the regeneration of this region to bringing the Olympics here. And I went home from it afterwards, and as I walked through Leeds Station, Testament, I don't know if people know Testament, amazing artist, spoken word, hip hop, incredible sort of Grammy-winning performer, was doing a bit of beatboxing in the middle of Leeds Station, and I thought, well, you don't get this at Davos, do you? And I think one of the really exciting things about this event and about Leeds is all of these strands come together, and we do that here at UKREiiF for one sector, for the real estate, for the built environment sector. Imagine if we could do that for more. Imagine if we could bring that energy and that incredible sort of cross-pollination that happens in this region to other sectors. And we can, because thanks to the Leeds City Fund, thanks to support from DCMS and support from government, which was announced yesterday by the Exchequer Secretary to the Secretary at the Investment Summit, we will be developing, finally, after talking about it for a little while, the Leeds waterfront project, converting the whole of our waterfront running from the end of Armouries Drive up to the Armouries into a new massive immersive space which will allow us to bring the world's oldest collection and all of the expertise and all of the unique offer that Leeds has, from jousting to the story of human conflict, politics and society across centuries, to the most important discussions and events of our time. So whether it's who's going to run the country, or how we're going to live, how we're going to travel, all of those things will be discussed here, but more, education, AI, fintech, health, all of those things. Think of how we can turn Leeds into a centre where these things become very real, but not real like they do in Davos or in big shiny convention centres in other places. Real among the people and in conversation with the people and involving the people, and that's the most exciting thing about the project. It's going to be absolutely collaborative and collegiate and everything that makes Leeds wonderful.
Thank you, Nat. I had two questions to ask Nat, what and when, and I think you've done both of them really well. So I might welcome you back at the end if anybody wants some Q&A.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Nat. So we go from the big ticket next generation, did you say human conflict and resolution, the place of peacemaking is what I'm hearing. And from that we'll go on to development and to momentum. So I'm going to welcome Lee Savage, who's a director at Caddick Developments, onto the stage. And Lee and Moda and Caddick are a significant investor, not just in Leeds, but in a lot of our regional cities as well. And Lee, I'm wondering if you will tell us about your latest project, Caddick being homed in Leeds as well, which we're very proud of, and the investment that you're announcing this morning.
Thank you very much, Angela. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Do better than that. Come on. Good morning, everybody. You're awake. Okay. For those who don't know Caddick, we started as a construction company about 47 years ago. Not me, obviously. Moved into development very soon after that. We focus on the beds and sheds sectors at the moment, so living and industrial and logistics. We represent owners of Mayoral Living. You may be aware of our build to rent initiatives around the country. So, on South Bank, what was City 1 is now South Village. We purchased around about 10 years ago now, and we've been working with stakeholders in the region, particularly Leeds City Council initially, to procure a planning permission. Indeed, I think 2 years ago we made some announcements with Homes England about memorandum of understanding to work collaboratively together with Leeds City Council and Homes England and the Combined Authority to kick-start the regeneration of the southern gateway to Leeds City Centre. It's 10.5 acres, and we've got that planning permission for 1,900 up to 1,925 homes and around about 750,000 square feet of employment space and other uses. I'm old enough to remember the previous southern boundary to Leeds City Centre, which is now Bewley's Hotel. There was an Irish hotel back in the day. We can't go any further south because of the rail and road network, so this is the last area of the southern boundary of Leeds City Centre to be developed. So what have we been doing for 2 years? Well, we've got that planning permission, and we've been working collectively with all the stakeholders that people talk about. There's a common theme running through all this today, which is the partnership working, not necessarily written legal agreements. I mean, it just makes lawyers more rich, but that collaborative working for the outcomes for the people of the area. So we've got the planning permission. How can we bring it forward, particularly in the economic climate that we're all living in today? So we've been working with, more recently, Homes England very hard. That sounds like Trump and they're throwing in statements after this paragraph. Sorry, I'll put those words in a proper sentence. We're working very hard with Homes England and their colleagues to deliver and agree a package and a range of interventions. And today we can announce the first of those, which is up to £16 million investment in South Village to enable us to enable the site. So for the technical people in the room, that's to move all the pipes and wires that are in the ground and all the nasty stuff, get that ready for development so we can move at scale and pace and move to the next stage after that, which is delivering those much needed homes of all tenures and spaces for the jobs of the future to the South Bank in the areas with the initiatives that Angela and other colleagues have been talking about. And we're going to be starting those works in the next couple of months as soon as we can get the electric board on site to move their spaghetti. And that's going to take a lot of collaborative working as well. We really need the region's support from the Combined Authority, the Council and Homes England to get all those other stakeholders that we deal with every day, that get those messages across that they need to work to the government and the region's agenda to enable the fast delivery of those homes and jobs.
Thank you, Lee. And it's really exciting to have the South Bank, the South Village, which is actually sited around its own village square, isn't it?
It is, yes. Much to some people say it's too big.
Can't be big enough, can it?
That'd be great. Paddle courts apparently are the next big thing.
Or just green grass for you. Thank you ever so much, Lee. So there's two other points before I welcome the Mayor, the Leader and Pat Ritchie back onto stage. I would say that, first of all, there is something missing that we talked about last year, which is the Ellen Road neighbourhood plan and the football stadium. And I'm really pleased that we're having our own session straight after this with Peter Lowy from the Lowy Family Group and our director at Leeds United. So please do stick around for that. It will be as uplifting as it was last year, or if not even better. And then the other thing I would say is that we have been working tremendously hard and we're out to recruitment and things are moving. But when we've sat alongside our colleagues in government, through Homes England, through the Combined Authority, through the National Wealth Fund, through the Housing Bank now, we said we are not going fast enough. What can we do to remove the friction between our parties to make sure we can even go faster? And that's where the concept of the Mayoral Development Zone came from, and that's where the Leeds Growth Team has come from. So the Leeds Growth Team now sits alongside each other every week and it resolves issues in real time. Sometimes it's not doing new things, it's doing the basics really well that is going to move us even further forward faster. So to talk about the Mayoral Development Zone, which is a real framework for pace, I'm going to welcome the Mayor, the Leader of the Council, James Lewis, and Pat Ritchie, who's the Chair of Homes England, back onto stage, and we can ask them a few questions. But before we do, Pat, welcome. Thank you for joining us this morning. Is there any first comments from you three in terms of the Mayoral Development Zone and why this is a framework that's right for Leeds and could be right in further places?
Well, first of all, thank you for inviting us here, and this is really a really exciting announcement, not just for Leeds but for the whole of England. Really, we see this as a nationally significant project which can really deliver quality places and deliver housing and economic growth in a way that is important to the whole of the UK. And so Homes England have worked very closely with the Mayor's team, with the City Council, to really lean in and deliver and to support the Mayoral Development Zone. And we, as Angela talked about, the thing I think that's at the heart of this work is collaboration and partnership and working in real time. So Tracy and I have had a conversation, and we kind of then agreed that there would be a joint team, that we bring together James's team, our team, and really kind of work in a way that blends not just our funding but our skills and expertise with the same goal, and that kind of real-time problem solving, developing is a model that we will look at in other parts of the country for projects of this scale and of this complexity and with this opportunity. So very pleased to be part of that, and to be acting a national agency that is really driven by local priorities and local opportunities, and I think this is it in action really.
And I think what's really exciting is that one front door where developers, investors, know exactly where to come, because too often these projects of this size, I mean, it's of European significance, it's a huge endeavour to have that one front door where people will get a response straight away. I think that is the key, and I think it was a year or so ago we signed that memorandum of understanding with Homes England, and look where we've got to because of that collaboration and cooperation. And I just had a meeting with Matthew Pennycook, the Minister, and we were talking about how this can be delivered in a parliamentary term, because of the way that, because of our approach, because hopefully it's all going to be signed off and the money will be there for us. So being able to work in partnership is the key, but you will know who to come to get swift results and swift outcomes.
And as I'm sharing a microphone with Tracy, I think the really important bit about this is about the wider West Yorkshire picture as well. Leeds is the core city in West Yorkshire, but we're not like a medieval city. We don't close the gates at the end of the night, and that's that. The relationship we have between Leeds and the 4 other councils in West Yorkshire is really, really important. It is a joint economy. The commuting between Leeds and Bradford is the highest level between any 2 big cities in England. And being able to have a model that works in Leeds but also works for Bradford, for Huddersfield, which would be really benefit from the Transpennine upgrade, for the ambitions Wakefield have around their city centre as well, for looking at how we work right across West Yorkshire, and having that approach that works and demonstrates it can work in Leeds, but having that for the whole of West Yorkshire is so important, because as we're stood on the pontoon, I can use the Mangler metaphor about boats rising and falling together, but it is really important, like I say, the economy in West Yorkshire is so interlinked. I know I'm a councillor out in Kipington Methley, which is right on the Wakefield border, if people don't know it. People I represent work in Wakefield, they're on the M62, they're on the M1, commuting across Yorkshire, they're on the trains to Leeds and Bradford, commuting in York as well. So having that joint approach is so important moving forward. I think this is be the starting point, but certainly start to where we go next.
If I could just remind everybody as well, if you're coming out of Leeds Station, do have a look at the Weaver bus. We are working towards the Weaver launch, where we're bringing buses back into public control. 27 fully franchised, 28 are fully Weaver branded. But what's really important is not just being able to get people across West Yorkshire to opportunity, it's also about bringing in the tram, rail, active travel, electric bikes into the Weaver network. The co-terminosity of that branding and being able to move people around this region is really important. But the tram is also fundamental to all of the projects that we're discussing over the next couple of days. So you know that we've got the money. Working with government, we're going to be working really fast, really hard with our partners from Leeds United as well, to make sure that we can have that phasing of the tram. So we will have those enabling works by 2028.
Thank you. Just some practicalities on the Mayoral Development Zone while you all get your questions in your mind, because you remember that I know quite a few in the room, so if there is no questions, I'll just ask. So the Mayoral Development Zone will have its first meeting on the 1st of July, its first Shadow Board meeting, as we set up the governance to go formal. In time, we will be creating an independent chair with independent advisors, but we're really fortunate that for the first 6 months, the Mayor will be chairing the Mayoral Development Zone to make sure that it gets started in the way that we truly want it to continue. Behind it there is the Leeds Growth team, so we're not waiting for the 1st of July. You've already seen the announcement on South Village this morning. We are working at pace, and the one thing that we've not mentioned yet is Newtown, and we've not mentioned it because today is the last day of the end of the consultation process, but we're in it. You know that we went down from a shortlist of 12 to 7, and actually it was the Monday before UKREiiF last year that Sir Michael Lyons and his task force came to Leeds to see if a new town was something that we could deliver and get alongside. And I think it's fair to say it was quite novel at that point in terms of urban extensions as being the modern new town. But my goodness, it makes perfect sense, because we've got a framework here, a planning framework that's already embedded in policy, which allows us to go at pace. So over the next 3 years, we can deliver 10,000 homes, and then 2030, as we've reset our planning, we can go even further and link in those neighbourhoods right along Ellen Road and beyond, which are all linked together by a spine of mass transit. And our spatial plans are not changing, but it's the acceleration and the rate at we're able to deliver, which can really change for the better. So with all that said, have I got any hands in the room for a couple of questions? Thank you, Patricia. You are not a quiet bunch. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Charlotte Owen. I'm the director at Hemico. We've just been selected to develop the Leeds South Bank heat network. I was wondering if you could tell me a little bit about how you think heating and indeed low carbon energy forms a key part of the Mayoral Development Corporation's plans.
Well, I was going to say we're a Mayoral Development Zone. It's a very different thing as an MDC, but clearly the South Bank already has its own district heating network that was started by the energy to waste plant out at the Aire Valley, and clearly we've just procured the second phase to that. So we're not coming from a standing start. There is a real opportunity to take that even further, and when we've connected our own estate onto the network, we've got more resilient energy, we've got cheaper energy, and to the people who need that energy the cheapest, the most. So it's really important. Is there anything else anybody wants to add to that?
I just would add that I think that certainty around energy and certainty around the price of energy that brings, the network brings, is a really important part of shaping the place, which is really what the Mayoral Development Zone is about. It's a connected place, decent place to live, but also somewhere where you know that you've got access to that support, and that the housing will be sustainable, and all of those things that we'll want to try and achieve. So it to me just is another strength that we can build on.
Thank you. Are there any other questions from the audience? I know. You are not a quiet bunch.
Angela, do you want me to say a little bit about the investment bank, the housing bank,
yes, please,
and the social and affordable housing programme? So one of the sort of the reasons for us all working together is how do we ensure that we use the scale of our own resources in a joined up way to be able to drive this development forward. And we launched the Housing Bank at the beginning of April, and we had an investment summit, which I think Lee was at and a number of others may have been at last week, where we're keen to get involved early and to really work alongside development and find ways that we can use the bank to bring in private investment to support the ambitions that we see here in the the launch today and find ways that we can use the bank's powers like guarantees, equity and loans to really support that kind of long-term development. And we might do that on a project by project basis, but the joined up approach that you've brought together here really allows us to make that kind of long-term plan work. And linked to that, we've had the biggest investment in social and affordable housing that we've seen in a generation through the spending review. Those projects have been we've gone through the bidding process at the moment to agree how we're going to start to spend that money. They've been informed by the Mayor's priorities in each region so that we can align social and affordable housing to the bank and the broader investment, and also bring our land and other things alongside the investment that Tracy has through the combined settlement and the land and other planning powers that we see through the council. So really this is how you kind of join up that kind of national and local, driven by local priorities and a long-term approach to sustainable places.
If I may. Also, this is about building communities, isn't it? It's not just about building loads of boxes where people are going to be living. It's about, as we saw with South Village, building communities with green space, with a cultural anchor. And the Mayoral Development Zone is the opportunities off the scale to actually create that beautiful community. So from here, from the Armouries right down to Temple Works and the British Library North, and all the opportunities in between. It's not just about homes, it's about green spaces, it's about connectivity, it's about pride in place and belonging, it's about businesses setting up. And I often think this is our opportunity to build our own Copenhagen, where we use our water, where we use our green spaces, where people have a great quality of life, and that's what our priorities are. And this gives us an incredible opportunity. And notwithstanding our investment into the tens of millions and our commitment to retrofit all of our social homes, setting up Home Energy West Yorkshire, enabling anybody, whatever your tenure, to get support on retrofit. It's really important to people's lives, and that's why we're doing it, and I'm sure you all feel the same.
Thank you. I'll take this question here, thank you. Patricia, sorry.
Hi, morning. Simon Hill from Yorkshire Purchasing Organisation. Firstly, as somebody that lives here on the South Bank, it's very exciting personally. But we're an organisation that works in public procurement, and we're very focused on the opportunity for social value creation that comes from the significant private investment that is taking place here. Welcome your thoughts on the opportunities that are created for wider social value here in Leeds.
Thank you. I think there's a few things. I think, first of all, and again, I know obviously I'm talking to a neighbour here, some people know Leeds, some people don't. We're actually here, 10-minute walk from here, you're in some of the most deprived communities in the country. And a key thing for me is making sure that in terms of construction, development, all the opportunities that come out of that, people in Leeds are really benefiting from that, whether it's through work, whether it's through apprenticeships, whether it's through the businesses that will come in here. That's really important for me. Again, in sort of the wider supply chain, we've done a lot of work in Leeds around our supply chain and about how that supports local businesses, and some of that is stimulating existing businesses. Some of the work we've done, people know Situ just up the road here. They build some of their own houses on site as well. So it is that kind of work. Can we bring wider economic activity alongside the location of the development to get that here? Clearly, clearly there's more steps to take on that. But also some of it as well is about. Tracy touched on the British Library, having a significant institution like that in the middle of Leeds, accessible by everybody in Leeds, is also part of that wider benefit. There's a purchasing, there's an employment, but there's that little bit of inspiration for people as well to see world-class institutions in Leeds as well. So those are how I would see it.
Can I just add as well that we've got the Centre of Excellence in the Construction College, so it's the only one in the country. And as Mayor, having the ability through my adult education budgets to have that pipeline of talent to come through, but it's also who gets those opportunities. And I'm privileged to be on Alan Milburn's inquiry into those young people not in education, employment or training, and those million young people across the country, 400,000 of which are not even in the system, they're not even getting benefits. We need to be able to offer them the opportunity to get in and to get on in all of this amazing work that's going on, whether that's in house building, whether that's in trams, whether that's in engineering around our electric buses. Those opportunities are there to be taken, but we need to make sure that everybody gets that the chance to grasp the prize that is great for the people of and the young people of West Yorkshire.
Thank you. So if I can't see any further hands, I'm going to give you all the chance to have a break and then reconvene.
Alex,
Oh, Alex. It's a small hand.
Yeah, sorry. I just thought, Pat, we're all asking what you can do, what this is going to do for us. I'm Alex, CEO of a company called The Data City, based in Leeds, or Square Mile, a fintech and AI company. What can we do to help you as a business community? This is great. I want more of this in my city. What can the business community do to help you?
I think the one main thing is businesses like yourself, Alex, and those of you're our diplomatic service, you're our ambassadors, you're our, when you're working around your embassies around the world, it is talking about what we are doing in Leeds and making sure people know the brilliant opportunities here. I would say that's my number. That's my number one thing. If there's anything you're unhappy with, come and talk to me. But all the good things are happening in Leeds. Tell the world.
And if I could say, one of the Oliver Coppard, the Mayor of South Yorkshire, said it quite well, that mayors are ghostbusters, because who are you going to call? You're going to call the mayor. So as you know, always give us a ring.
I don't know how to end on that. Apart from giving you a big plug that in terms of what business can do for the city, we are the city's council, but it's not the council city. And what we've really tried to do is create a movement that everybody can get behind, and we call that the Leeds Ambitions, about being healthy, about being thriving, about growing, about being resilient. And there's a lot of people in this room who are already part of that anchor movement. I know Nat is, I know that Lisa is, I know that there's quite a few, I know that the football club are. And we've got an event, is it tomorrow, Nat, at the Discovery Centre, where we're talking about what does that mean for the people of Leeds and the business of Leeds. So please do come and get behind that, because working together is the only way we're going to make sure that everyone has that opportunity. So talk good about us and join our anchor movement. Okay, so with that in mind, I'm going to thank the Mayor, Pat, the leader, Councillor James Lewis, I'm going to thank Nat, I'm going to thank Lee, but most of all I'm going to thank you all for coming and keeping and championing both the city and the city region. And give yourself about 5 minutes, we'll reconvene on stage and we'll have an in-conversation with Peter Lowy and talk about all the things that are happening at the football club. If you give my panel a round of applause.